Welcome to this JCT Graphics presentation, in which the focus will be to recap on and to reinforce the key points for CBA2 graphical presentation skills. This presentation will act as a reinforcement of the CBA2 process in Junior Cycle Graphics. We will explore the following areas throughout the presentation: the context for CBA2 graphical presentation skills, student learning before the CBA, student learning during the CBA. We will be examining the next steps after the CBA is completed, and finally preparing for and participating in a SLAR meeting. Throughout the slides are a number of clickable images that link to relevant documents for Junior Cycle Graphics. Third year students are continuing their learning journey this year and will complete the first full cycle of the graphic specification. We can see the progression of learning and different forms of assessment throughout the last few years, building up to the CBA2 in third year along with the new project component. It is important to note that they are a learning and assessment process that form part of the student learning journey. And while they take place at a particular point in time, the learning is continuous through units of learning targeting specific learning outcomes within the graphic specification. This slide contains a summary of what is available on curriculumonline.ie. It covers the key documents to be familiar with and to refer to before, during and after completion of CBA2. These include the guidelines for classroom-based assessment, the revised arrangements for CBAs, the domain for CBA2, and the subject specification. Here we can see the key dates taken from the revised arrangements for the completion of classroom-based assessments. The CBA must be completed by the 8th of October. Provisional descriptors must be awarded by teachers by the 15th of October, and SLAR meetings should be completed and final descriptors awarded by the 22nd of October.
This slide outlines both classroom-based assessments in graphics. Classroom-based assessment 1, communication through sketching, and classroom-based assessment 2, graphical presentation skills. It is important to stress that the CBAs are not a standalone event that takes 3 weeks out of the term to complete. They are a process that should fit seamlessly into your ongoing teaching and learning in the classroom. CBA 2 should allow students the opportunity to draw on and further develop skills they would have learned and experienced in the graphics classroom over the course of first and second year. Teachers should familiarise themselves with and continuously refer to the guidelines for classroom-based assessments in graphics. Value and role of the classroom-based assessment. In a student's learning journey, the classroom-based assessment plays a very important role in providing the opportunity and scope to further their engagement and ownership of learning. The CBA2 is a moment along that continuous learning journey. It will allow students the platform to engage in practical and self-directed learning and to expand their skill set that can be carried forward in their learning journey. The classroom-based assessment offers an opportunity for ongoing support and feedback, and the students experience a sense of enjoyment and achievement as they take part in the learning and assessment process. Students are afforded the opportunity to express their own voice and choices in the completion and in the presentation of their work. We must remember that the CBAs, along with other elements of the specification, are designed around the key skills of the junior cycle. It is through the specification and learning outcomes in graphics that we try to develop the 8 key skills. For you as teachers, try to think about which of the skills we're exposing students to by facilitating the CBAs, but also when you're designing other learning experiences and your units of learning for your classes. When looking at CBA2 as an overview, there are 4 key things you need to bear in mind. Students will be researching an area related to the domain of the SAC project for that year. Students will individually present a piece of work. The window for completion of the classroom-based assessment is 3 weeks, and students may present their work in a wide range of formats.
We will be referring to this document as we explore CBA2. This document is called Planning for Classroom-Based Assessments and is available on the JCT website within the Graphics Assessment section. The document outlines considerations for subject departments and subject teachers throughout the CBA process. In terms of the subject department before the CBA, they should agree the 3-week window, agree the STAR meeting date, and agree who the STAR meeting facilitator is going to be. In terms then of the subject teacher before the CBA, they should engage with the subject specification through the learning outcomes planned in your units of learning. Should explore formative assessment strategies, and finally consider student experiences with a non-linear approach to learning outcomes. We will now look at considerations for during the CBA process. In terms of the subject department, you should offer subject colleagues collegial support throughout the process and encourage collective discussion, advice and support to one another. In terms of the subject teacher then during the CBA, should guide students as they progress through the task, offer ongoing feedback to students, and identify possible samples for the STAR meeting. For CBA2, there are 3 lenses which contribute to the generation of a student's evidence of learning and achievement. These are research and analysis, exploring concepts, and graphical presentation. We will explore each of these lenses in more detail over the next number of slides. The first lens which students will engage with is research and analysis. Within this lens, the main points are research skills on a prescribed area, to gather data and information from different sources to research, and the gathering of field or primary research and or some desk or secondary research. We would like to remind you that there are relevant documents already published and available on our website jct.ie which might support you and your students in their work. These include Supporting Successful Student Research and My Design Guide. Clicking on the respective image will bring you to the location of each of these resources on the JCT website. In regard to Lens 2, then exploring concepts, the main points are to identify and explore relevant concepts associated with the domain. Concepts can relate to the domain as a whole or to distinct aspects. Students can draw on existing knowledge but should support their work with research to enhance their knowledge of their identified concepts. And students should show a genuine understanding of the domain and should consider what key information will be needed to accurately communicate their findings. A reminder that this year's domain can be accessed on curriculumonline.ie. In regard to Lens 3 then, graphical presentation. Each student will graphically present on what they have learned. They will present their own work to demonstrate personal understanding of the knowledge and ideas relevant to the project's domain. They are encouraged to identify which information best communicates their work. And students are advised to choose the most suitable medium in which to present it. Students can present in written form, digitally, visual form, or audio form. However, it is important to note that if audio form is chosen as the format, this must be accompanied by a visual component. In regard to Lens 2 graphical presentation, you might ask why there is no prescribed format for students to present their CBA. One of the main aims of Junior Cycle Graphics is to equip all students to make judgments on the best mode through which to represent their ideas and solutions. In terms of the student's voice, this affords students the opportunity to express their learning in a format that suits them, their skill set and their learning experiences, which all feed into the development of the key skills for the junior cycle.
Deciding on the level of achievement. Students submit their work at the end of the 3-week CBA window. Teachers will then award a provisional descriptor to each of the students' pieces of work based on the features of quality. There are 4 level descriptors of achievement in each classroom-based assessment. They are yet to meet expectations, in line with expectations, above expectations, and exceptional. It is recommended that a teacher should read the features of quality starting with yet to meet expectations and working up towards exceptional until they reach a descriptor that best describes the student's work that's being assessed. We will look into this process in the next couple of slides. This is a graphic of the yet to meet expectations features of quality for CBA2. What you can see here is an outline of what a student's work would look like to achieve this descriptor level. It is important to note that there are 3 bullet points within each descriptor level. They directly apply to the 3 lenses that the students would have been engaging with. Each level descriptor has a bullet point associated with each of these lenses. Research and analysis, exploring concepts, and graphical presentation. It is important to note that Classroom-Based Assessment 1 and Classroom-Based Assessment 2 have different features of quality, so just to make sure that you are reading the correct ones. You can see here how the 3 lenses map across all of the features of quality. Research and analysis, exploring concepts, graphical presentation. To award a provisional descriptor to your student's piece of work, remember to start at the bottom, at the yet to meet expectations descriptor. If the student's piece of work meets all the criteria in the features of quality for a descriptor level, then the next step is to see if it meets the features of quality for the next descriptor level up or not. If the work does not meet any of the features of quality for the next descriptor level, then the level before is the correct level for that piece of work. If the work meets some of the features of quality in the next descriptor level, then a best fit approach may need to be adopted and the piece of work may be brought forward for discussion at the SLAR meeting. The best fit approach allows teachers to select the descriptor that on balance describes the work being assessed. Remember, this is a provisional descriptor and may be changed following discussion at the SLAR meeting. And also remember that you're applying the features of quality to the work submitted, not to the student that you have in class with you on a daily basis.
We will now look at what happens after the CBAs. So in terms of the subject department, the SLAR meeting should take place within 1 month or before the latest date in the NCCA guidelines. Feedback should be provided to students, and the subject department should reflect on the CBA experience. In terms then of the subject teacher, they should assign provisional descriptors, participate in the SLAR meeting, reconsider judgments based on the outcomes of the SLAR meeting, and then report final descriptors. It is important to note that effective feedback to the student goes beyond the final descriptor awarded after the SLAR meeting. Feedback on the strengths of the student's work and on areas for improvement is used to support their future learning. The NCCA's formative feedback booklet and the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments for graphics provide guidance and support in terms of both the SLAR process and providing meaningful, formative feedback to students. Just to note, the Junior Cycle Implementation Support Team, or JCIS, are providing training around the SLAR process between the 4th and the 15th of October. Please check the JCIS section of the website for details on this training. If you take a look at the value and role of the SLAR, SLAR meetings have a vital role in providing a platform for teachers to engage in professional discussion and to develop a shared understanding of the quality of students' learning, as well as providing meaningful, formative feedback. In terms of professional development, they allow for teachers' engagement in reflection on their professional practice and how teaching and learning in their school may be improved. In terms of what happens after a SLAR meeting, each individual teacher may reconsider the judgments they have made of their students' work based on the outcomes of the meeting, and then where necessary make the appropriate adjustments to the level of achievement awarded to the work. The recording and reporting results from the CBA takes place, and finally students are provided with effective feedback on their CBA that will move them forward in their learning journey. So in summary, in this presentation, we have explored the context for CBA2 graphical presentation skills, student learning before the CBA, student learning during the CBA. We examined the steps taken after the CBA, and finally preparing for and participating in a SLAR meeting. The graphics team would like to thank you for engaging with this presentation. For more support, please visit the technology section of the JCT website, or you may contact a member of the graphics team. Our contact details may be found on the Meet the Team section of the JCT website.